Let's get right into it. Number 9. The Amazon's Hidden Rock Art Gallery. In the Colombian Amazon lies a massive rock art gallery stretching 8 miles along towering cliff faces. The ancient artists painted extinct beasts that would make a T-Rex look friendly, giant sloths the size of trucks, mastodons with tusks that could skewer a car, and strange camel-looking creatures that no longer exist. Some of these paintings are so high up that scientists needed drones just to see them. The ancient artists must have built wooden towers just to reach those spots. The paint they used is a deep red color that almost glows against the rock. It's lasted better than most modern street art despite being rained on for over 12,000 years. When these paintings were made, the Amazon wasn't even a rainforest. It was more like an African savanna where giant creatures roamed freely. The artists documented their world transforming as the climate changed their home into a jungle. Today, reaching these paintings requires trekking through remote jungle, avoiding poisonous snakes and hungry caimans. The forest kept this secret safe until 2017, when scientists finally discovered what they now call the Sistine Chapel of the Ancients. Number 8. The breathing forest floor. In certain forests, the ground itself comes alive. The forest floor rises and falls in a slow, steady rhythm like a giant taking deep breaths. When strong winds blow through the forest, they don't just move the branches. The force travels down to the roots, which spread out just under the surface like giant hands. These roots lift up sheets of moss and soil as the trees sway back and forth. The softer and wetter the ground, the more dramatic this effect becomes. Entire sections of forest floor can rise and fall by several inches. It's like watching waves on the ocean, except these waves are made of earth and moss. The trees causing this have disc-shaped root systems that spread out instead of down. When hundreds of these trees move together in the wind, they turn the solid ground into a living, breathing thing. If you're standing on one of these spots when it starts moving, you might sink into suddenly forming gaps in the ground. The forest floor becomes like quicksand, ready to swallow anything that's not careful. Number 7. The Devil's Postpile. In California's Sierra Nevada mountains stands a wall of stone pillars that looks like it was built by giants. These aren't just random rocks. They're perfect hexagonal columns stacked together like a giant honeycomb. Each column is as thick as a car and stretches up to 60 feet high. They formed when a massive river of lava cooled down super slowly about 100,000 years ago. The cooling lava cracked into these perfect six-sided shapes, similar to when mud dries and cracks in the sun. Ancient glaciers came through like giant ice bulldozers and sliced right through these columns. They shaved one side completely flat, creating this massive wall of stone pillars. The cut surface is so smooth you can walk on it, showing perfect cross-sections of each hexagon. Some of these columns have fallen over time, creating a graveyard of giant stone hexagons at the base. Each fallen piece is so perfectly shaped, it looks like it was cut by machines rather than formed by nature. The whole thing was almost destroyed in the 1900s when miners wanted to blow it up to build a dam. They were ready with dynamite when the president stepped in and made it a protected monument. Number 6. Mount Lico's upside-down pots. Mount Lico is a mountain with cliffs so steep that climbing it was thought impossible. The forest on top stayed untouched for centuries, protected by these natural walls. Scientists only found it recently using Google Earth when they spotted a patch of ancient forest floating above the landscape. When they finally climbed up there, they found clay pots placed upside down near a stream, hundreds of meters above where any human should have been able to reach. These weren't random pieces of pottery, they were ritual objects, carefully placed by someone who made an impossible climb. The local people say no one in living memory has ever reached the top of Mount Lico. The cliffs rise straight up like the walls of a fortress, yet somehow, long ago, someone not only made it up there, but carried these heavy clay pots with them. The pots were part of a rain-making ritual, an offering to the gods who controlled the water. Whoever placed them there believed this untouched forest, closer to the sky than any place around, was sacred. They risked their lives climbing those cliffs just to leave their offering. Today the pots still sit there, guarding their secrets in a forest untouched by modern humans until scientists found it. Number 5. The Mayan blood altar. In the jungles of Guatemala stands a massive stone altar that's seen things that would make horror movies look tame. The limestone slab shows a king named Chak Tuk Ichak holding a two-headed snake. The altar is covered in channels and grooves designed to collect and drain blood from sacrificial victims. Around it, archaeologists found obsidian knives, black volcanic glass sharper than modern surgical blades. Scientists found offering caches nearby, sometimes containing bones. These chambers weren't graves. They were collection points for the blood that ran down the altar's sides. The Maya believed this blood would feed the earth and keep their world alive. The stone itself is still stained dark red in spots. Modern tools show traces of blood soaked so deep into the rock that time itself couldn't wash it away. The jungle tried to hide this dark piece of history, growing thick vines and trees around it, but the altar refused to be forgotten, its blood-stained surface telling stories of power, gods, and death. Number 4. The lost cities under the trees. In the Amazon, scientists found entire cities hidden under the forest. Not just a few old buildings, but massive urban centers with roads, plazas, and pyramids taller than a 7-story building. The forest tried its best to keep this secret. Trees grew through stone streets, vines covered ancient walls, and soil buried everything else. Modern lasers shot from planes can see right through the trees, revealing these lost metropolises. The cities had perfect straight roads connecting them, some running for miles through what's now thick jungle. They built huge water systems with canals and reservoirs, turning the wild rainforest into a giant garden. Each city had deep moats and walls arranged in circles, like a giant bullseye viewed from above. Some of these defensive rings are bigger than modern football stadiums. For centuries, explorers died trying to find these places. The forest swallowed their bodies along with the cities they were looking for. Now we know those legendary lost cities were real places hidden right under our feet. Today, you could walk right through one of these ancient cities and never know it. The only clue might be the unusually straight line of trees growing along what used to be a road, or a slight rise in the ground where a pyramid sits, buried under centuries of leaves and dirt. Number 3. The perfect stone balls of Costa Rica. In Costa Rica's jungles, ancient people left behind something extraordinary. Over 300 stone spheres, so perfectly round they make bowling balls look like amateur work. These massive stone balls weigh up to 16 tons. That's heavier than a T-Rex. Some are small enough to fit in your backpack, while others are bigger than your car. The ancient craftsmen took rough boulders and turned them into perfect spheres using nothing but other rocks. No fancy tools, no measuring devices, just rock-on-rock action. When scientists found these balls in the 1930s, they were hidden under thick jungle. A bulldozer driver accidentally ran into one, damaging his blade on the 2,000-year-old piece of art. People started blowing them up with dynamite, convinced they contained gold inside. Today, these spheres are scattered throughout Costa Rica, like giant marbles from an ancient collection. Some ended up in people's front yards as the world's most expensive lawn ornaments. Others sit in museums, making modern sculptors question their skills. These spheres are so perfectly round that scientists still can't figure out how they were made this precisely. Number 2. The frozen forest. There's a forest trapped in ice in Montana's mountains. These ancient white-bark pines have been frozen solid for over 6,000 years, preserved exactly as they were like nature's own display case. The trees are growing 600 feet above where forests can survive today. Back when these trees were alive, this harsh mountain zone was as warm as it was in the 1900s. Then a volcanic eruption turned the temperature down so rapidly, the trees didn't even have time to rot. It's like nature hit the pause button mid-apocalypse. Scientists found ancient hunting spears and pieces of charcoal from old fires frozen alongside the trees. The ice isn't moving like a glacier. It's just sitting there, holding everything in place. Each piece of wood is so well preserved, it still smells like fresh pine when first uncovered. Now as the ice slowly melts, these ancient trees are seeing sunlight again. They're like messengers from the past, showing us how quickly our world can change. Number 1. The Mountain of Lost Dishes. In Pennsylvania's forests sits a mountain made entirely of plates, cups, and bowls. Not just a small pile, but thousands of pristine white dishes stacked higher than a person. A guy named Matt found this weird collection during a camping trip. He was walking through the woods when he stumbled onto what looked like an outdoor china shop. Most of the dishes look brand new, like they came straight from a factory. The pile sits near an old school, a graveyard, and some train tracks, like pieces of a puzzle that don't quite fit together. Local officials investigated but couldn't explain why thousands of dishes ended up in the middle of nowhere. Some think it's from an old factory that went bust and dumped its inventory. The forest has started growing around the dishes, with trees pushing up through piles of perfect porcelain. Plants grow between the plates, and trees drop leaves that get caught in teacups. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.